One of the things that I love the most about making cakes is to see the little kids' face when they see for the first time their cake. It's amazing, isn't it? It's really wonderful because you can see their face brighten up and they're really happy about it. And that's why I always love to make little kids theme cake topper for you guys, and I really hope to help you to make someone really happy with your cakes and cake toppers too. The first thing that I'm going to be doing is the body of JJ, and to do that I'm going to help myself with a photo of JJ which I've printed and I found on the internet. And I'm going to put a novel on top of it, and I'm going to cut the bottom to make the legs, get rid of the fondant that I don't need, and then making it a little bit more round, and meanwhile make the ankles a little bit thinner and move the lowest part to make the foot. Then I'm going to add 2 small sausages on each side to make the arms instead. And to fix them inside the body, I'm going to add 2 small cocktail sticks on each arm. To make it look a little bit more realistic, I'm going to add 2 lines halfway each arm. And then I'm going to insert a long cocktail stick that will support the body and the head as well. To make the head, we're going to start from a ball, then we're going to flatten it from the bottom a little bit, and we're going to give a roughly same shape of JJ head. However, we're going to fix it afterwards as well. In the middle, we're going to draw a line so that we're going to have some room for the eyes. And then just right in the middle, we're going to press it so that we're going to start to shape our nose, the top of our nose. But to make the bottom of the nose, we're going to add simply a small triangle, and then we're going to make the nostrils with a silicone pointed tool, which is the best for this kind of things. Before cutting the mouth, we want to draw it to make sure that we're not going to make too many mistakes before cutting it. So afterwards, when we're happy with it, we can cut and remove the fondant that we're not going to need. We're going to add on top of it some black fondant. However, it's always nice to make it a little bit more tidy. So now let's insert a little bit the black fondant. And I want to add the tongue as well, which is a color between red and pink. So we're going to add this oval at the bottom of the mouth, and we're going to draw as well a line in the middle of it, which I think is going to look a little bit more cute. Once we've done that, what I want to add are the little and cute teeth at the front top of his mouth, and to do so we're going to need just 2 tiny they're really going to be small ovals of white fondant, and we're going to add them at the top of it, which is a bit tricky because they're really tiny, but it looks so much cute that I could not put in them. And already looks really cheeky, doesn't it? Now let's move on drawing the eyes with our pointed tool. Again, it is always better to draw them first so that we know roughly how they're going to be. I mean, we're not going to make them exactly as they are, but at least we're going to try as much as we can. Then with a ball tool, we can push the fondant on the inside so that we're going to have some room for afterwards. And as you can see, it's not exactly as it should be, but I'm going to try to fix it. Yes, it could happen. It's okay. It's totally fine. Once you make a mistake, it's not really over. You still can try to fix everything. So once we're happy with it, we can insert some white fondant and try to fill it the whole eye with it. To make the iris, I'm going to draw first all the outside using a big straw. And as you can see, the irises are towards the center of the face. To draw the irises and the eyes, normally I use this brush, which is really tiny, and it's perfect for this kind of works. I'm going to put a link on the description if you want to buy the same one as well. So first of all, we're going to draw the outside of the iris, and what I used is a red brown color. I didn't want to do it just brown because it was a little bit too much, so I wanted to add a little bit more red as well. So first you do the outside, and then with a damp brush you're going to take the outside color all on the inside, so that you're going to have different shades. Then we're going to insert the pupils, and to do so we're going to add some flat circled black fondant. To make the iris a little bit more pop up, I'm going to color the outside with some black gel paste. And then I'm going to add a dot of white color between the iris and the pupil. So the face is nearly done. What we have to do is to add 2 strips to make the brows, which are really tiny, and we know already where they're going to be as we drawn them before. Now, the chin looks a little bit too big to me, so I'm going to cut it and then smooth it a little bit with my finger. Now, I kind of think that I've cut it a bit too much, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to try to pull a little bit the fondant, and it's going to look perfectly well after a while of working on it. And now I think it is totally fine. However, I still think that the neck is too big, so I'm going to remove, just pushing it towards the bottom of it and then cut it. So another thing that we still need to do are the ears, and they're actually 2 ovals which are flat, and I'm going to attach them at the same level of the bottom of the eyes. To make it look a little bit more cute and a little bit cheeky, what we need to do is to add that one piece of hair that he has on his head, which is yellow and it's curled as well. And finally, we can add some color into it. This palette, I think it's an old palette, but I still love it. And if you want to buy the new one, I'm going to put the link on the description. And I'm sure it's going to be even better than mine. Let's put the head onto the rest of the body, but first of all, we need to cut the cocktail stick, as of course it is too long at the moment. So we need to cut it roughly over here, really careful. And then once the head is dry, because if you added it before when it's still soft, the shape of the head is going to change completely and you're not gonna like it. So let's insert it. The next step that we want to do now that the body is hard as well is to paint all the whales that are on his pajamas. And first what you want to do is to try on a piece of fondant to make sure that you know what you're actually going to draw, and then you can move on and painting everything onto the pajamas. They're really easy shapes to paint. There's a kind of oval for the head, then there's a curved line for the tail, and then a kind of U for the rest of the tail. And what I noticed is that there are some that are upside down, some that are mirrored, and I've also painted them in yellow. And another one on his foot, and then on the arms as well. To finish off JJ pajamas, what we need to do is to add a strip of lighter blue at the top of the pajama like this, cut any extra, and then add another strip around the neck. Also we need to add a small button, which is a ball that we're going to press it in the middle and put it at the top of the collar. But before adding the other two strips on the arms, what we want to do is to make the hands first. Starting with a flat oval, then we're going to make a cut to make the thumb. I'm so sorry, you can't see very well. So then another cut in the middle of this other part that we're missing, then another cut, and then another cut, and then round each fingers, which are really delicate. You want to open them up first and then rounding them within your fingers. So now we can put it on to the rest of the arm, and we can add the other one as well. Try to insert a little bit to make sure that it won't fall off. And now we can add 2 more strips of the lighter fondant all around the arm, and to hide as well a little bit of a gap between the hand as well. Cut any extra, and now we can put it on top of our dummy. So JJ has been done, and we're going to leave it like this for a while. And because this is a Cocomelon theme, obviously we could not have done Cocomelon as well. And we're going to start from a novel of darker green, and then we're going to make lots of strips of fondant of a lighter green, and we're going to put them all around the bigger ball. So at the bottom, even if it's not exactly perfect, it doesn't matter because it's going to be at the bottom in fact, and no one is going to see it. So just be careful to making it look a little bit nicer at the top though. So then let's draw first again before cutting it, the front. And then remove it. At the moment it looks really ugly, but we're going to fix it little bit with a bold tool, and then we're going to cover it with some lighter red rectangle of fondant. All around we're going to add a long sausage of white fondant, and we're going to cut the extra one. Then with our bold tool we're going to make some rooms for the eyes, and we're going to fill them with some black fondant, which we're going to flatten a little bit. So then we're going to add some more tiny strips for the mouth and the nose, and then I've added another small piece for the rest of the mouth. And then I don't know if you noticed, but it has a really tiny piece of white fondant at the top right corner. Also for the pupils we're going to add two small ovals on top of the eyes. Now at the top of Cocomelon we're going to add some pink fondant like this, tapping it, and then I don't know why, but it has this cute little ladybird on the left. And to do so, what we're going to need is to add a red oval at the bottom, and then a black oval at the front to make the head. A really small bold tool. Let's make two holes for afterwards so that we can add the eyes, and always using the same bold tool we're going to add some black dots on the body, which is really nice and cute as is really tiny. So let's add some white fondant for the eye, then for the irises instead a small dot of light blue fondant, then for the pupil one black, and then I've added two small pieces of green wire which I've painted in black, so they're going to look much better. And at the very end I've added two small ball of orange fondant. Finally, we need to add these small wires. Again, I've added the green ones and curved as much as possible, similar as in the picture, with the help of my scissors. Cut them. Then finally I've added two balls of light blue fondant. Now I really could leave like this, but I wasn't sure, so I've painted the wires with some purple gel paste which looked more similar. And I just realized it's usual that's something that I always forget, and so I realized that I needed to add the red blushes on the Cocomelon face. And here it is. I hope you like them. And now we can put it next to JJ now. If you love this kind of video, don't forget to subscribe and to leave me a thumbs up, because I'm going to make another video for you next week. And it's all for today, so see you next time. Bye bye, and be creative and have fun. Don't forget about that too.